They brought in every top engineer, every AI specialist, but the Navy's most advanced ships stayed dead in the water until a retired black sailor showed up with just a notebook, a wrench, and 30 years of gut instinct. "Sir, we've lost propulsion again." Lieutenant Neil Darby's voice was hollow in the USS Halcyon's control room. His face drained of color. No one moved. Captain Elise Brannon stepped forward, her boots clicking sharply. "Define again," she demanded. Darby's voice dropped. "Main hybrid units cycled down. Manual restart failed. Backup protocols aren't responding." A low curse came from Chief Engineer Bradley Tennyson, hunched over diagnostics for hours. This was day 2 of a classified training exercise off San Diego. The Halcyon, a nearly $3 billion marvel, was dead. No power, no weapons, limited comms. The Navy's pride had turned into a 9,000-ton paperweight. Its hybrid propulsion combined electric turbines, gas engines, and an adaptive AI monitoring engine health. Months of secrecy surrounded it. Only a few engineers cleared to touch it. Now, nothing worked. In the engine room, tension was thick. 10 engineers, Navy, and civilians sweated over diagnostics. Updates, replaced boards, rebooted AI. No luck. At 0400 hours, Captain Brannon called it. "We're done guessing," she said. "Someone outside this circle needs to see this." Commander Raj Patel, head of engineering, shook his head. "Command handpicked this team." Brannon met his eyes. "Yet they haven't fixed it." She knew the stakes. The Halcyon was a crown jewel. If word got out it failed weeks after deployment, heads would roll, probably hers first. Higher-ups weren't thrilled, but approved a request. Top propulsion consultants were contacted. They declined, too risky without enough intel. By day 3, morale sunk. Petty Officer Lindsay Roy, usually the ship's joker, barely spoke. A fog of failure wrapped the crew. Younger sailors grew quiet, moved slower, ate less. In the engine room, burnt rubber still hung in the air. The system had blown a fuse overnight. The AI looped in diagnostics purgatory. Best anyone could do was guess. "We're missing something fundamental," muttered Patel, crouched by the power grid. "But nothing makes sense." Civilian engineer Hannah, Yuan scroll code. "We're seeing this through perfection's lens. This system was designed in a lab." "Ships don't live in labs," Patel sighed. "We need someone who understands chaos." Then the announcement. A civilian consultant en route, emergency clearance, arriving in 5 hours. Most crew didn't know what that meant. Some joked, maybe Elon Musk. Only Captain Brannon and a few knew the name Raymond Ellis. When the Black Hawk landed on deck, Ellis stepped off in worn boots, a faded Navy windbreaker, a face carved from time, salt, and diesel. A battered notebook hung in his left hand. An ancient stethoscope dangled around his neck. Chief Tennyson squinted. "This the guy?" Ellis ignored him. "Where's the engine room?" They walked silently, boots echoing. Ellis asked 3 questions. "What's she running?" "GE Hydrocore Hybrid," Yuan answered. "Last-gen code with semi-autonomous diagnostics." "What's she not doing?" "Everything," Patel muttered. Ellis paused at the engine room door, listening by tapping the wall twice. "Don't touch anything until I hear her." The crew exchanged looks. Ellis hadn't brought a laptop or asked for data logs. He just bent, placed the stethoscope on a pipe, stood still, his closed, breath steady. A minute passed. Then Ellis straightened. "Who adjusted the heat sink capacitors after shutdown?" A young mechanic hesitated. "Misa, following the default sequence." Ellis shook his head. "You followed it wrong, not your fault. That sequence is for clean installs, not a hot core mid-cycle failure." He looked at Patel. "You ever try resetting a circuit while someone's welding the power line?" Patel blinked. "What?" "You're trying to restart a system fighting itself. Because you're overriding the fail-safe. She's locking you out, not broken, defending." A long silence. Yuan whispered, "I didn't think that was possible." Ellis scratched in his notebook. "Most on Tumless you saw this system before AI was added. This machine's scared." He smiled tiredly. "You yelled at her. I'm here to speak her language." Captain Brannon arrived as engineers began rewiring under Ellis's lead. She watched quietly as a man with no badge or credentials took control of a ship too advanced for its makers. No one expected what came next. 7 years earlier, Ellis retired quietly, no ceremony, no speeches. He worked in a Norfolk garage smelling of oil, salt, and burnt coffee. People brought broken motors, pumps, tools she made them run. That morning, his phone rang. A landline that rarely worked. Raymond. Chief Ellis. This is Admiral Clarence Pike. You remember me? Ellis froze not from fear, but memory. Pike, Bahrain, a failing power grid, blackout hours away. I need you. The Halcyon's down. Contractors, engineers, AI, coders, nothing works. Ellis looked at grease on his hands. I've read about her. She's not just stuck. She's drowning. Ellis leaned back. You've got 200 engineers. What do you need me for? Pike softened. They're out thinking the system. I need someone who can feel it. Ellis laughed dryly. I'm a mechanic, not a prophet. You saw the system's bones before AI hid them, before they made it too smart to understand. Ellis stared at his notebook, unopened for 3 years' engine diagrams, notes, cycles. I don't wear the uniform anymore. I'm not asking you to. Just help fix a mistake. Ellis didn't answer. Hung up. 10 minutes later, he called back. You got a bird ready? Pike said, already warming up. By helicopter, rumors swirled. An uncredentialed old chief was being flown to fix a billion-dollar ship that stumped experts. But Pike remembered Ellis, who patched engines blindfolded, mapped broken shafts by sound. Not because of talent, but because he listened. Ellis stepped onto the deck, notebook and stethoscope in hand. Captain Brannon greeted him firmly. Welcome aboard, Chief Ellis. No speeches. Show me where she's sleeping. The ship gleamed stainless steel, modern lights, but Ellis didn't look. His ears tuned to a forgotten rhythm. Feels too quiet, he muttered. Brannon said, we shut most systems to save power. No, the kind where something's wrong but won't say. At the engine room, Ellis stopped. 10 engineers circled the silent hybrid core. Some smirked. Ellis ignored them, set his notebook down, and approached the dead machine. 20 feet of turbines, wires like a NASA launch. Digital readouts blank. Where's the last pulse? He asked. Patel blinked. Sector B, 7 voltage collapsed during rain-it. Ellis tapped the casing with his wrench, then placed his stethoscope on a junction. Engineers exchanged looks. Ellis stayed crouched, eyes closed. He stood and pointed near the cooling relay. Wrong capacitor type. Yuan stepped forward. Impossible. Double-check specs. You checked what the computer said, not what the ship was built with, Ellis said. That relay was switched during testing. Creates a voltage echo AI can't read. Patel frowned. Not in the manual. Ellis peeled back a panel, revealing charred metal. Manual was written after they sanitized the system. I saw this failure once in '08. They buried it. Smirks faded. Brannon asked, can we fix it? Ellis nodded. You got solder and a part to cannibalize? That's not regulation. Neither is being dead for 4 days. She agreed. Ellis worked methodically. Calm, precise. Tools from a pouch. Hands steady. Pull relay from comm housing. Don't touch shielding. It's brittle. Petty Officer Morris nodded. Patel paced. You think one capacitor caused all this? No, Ellis said. It's where it started. The rest is reaction to bad data. He held the old capacitor beside the new, same shell, different inside. This system's not failing, Yuan said. It's rejecting something, Ellis agreed. Every restart, you make her think she's under attack. Brannon watched. The AI evaluates. If something's off, it shuts down defensively. No logic fixes that you fix the logic it believes. Morris returned with the salvage part. Eddie's rolled sleeves, no gloves. Soldering hissed. Repair smell filled the room. Done. Ellis wiped hands. Cycle primary. Don't push. Let her come back. Patel restarted system. Lights flickered. A low rumble rolled underfoot. Silence. Ellis pressed stethoscope. 10 seconds. A click. Diagnostic screens lit dim, then bright. Core temp stabilizing, Yuan said. Auxiliary relays responding, Patel. Propulsion online. Morris whispered, hope rising. The engine room held breath. Brandon broke silence. Mr. Ellis, what did you do? She tried running on a frequency not in her memory. Now she's back in tune. Brandon stared. Unbelievable. Young engineer Brent scoffed. How do you know what to check? No way you guessed. Ellis stepped close. I didn't guess. I listened. Brent sneered. It's a machine. You can't listen to wires. Ellis's eyes locked on him. Ever watch someone bleed from a valve failure? Crawl a pipe chase with seconds of oxygen? No. Then don't talk. Brent's silent. Ellis knocked gently. She's alive. Let her breathe. After 4 days, the halcyon hummed steady and real. Outside, she moved again. But questions remained. Command wondered why a billion-dollar ship failed, why AI missed it, why a retired chief fixed it. Encrypted messages asked for explanations, not praise. In a small room, Patel, Darby, Yuan, and Ellis met. Darby said, we need to align before this goes up. Ellis repeated, align. There's chatter protocol violations, hardware pulled, no documentation. If spun wrong, we're on the line. Yuan added, Ellis isn't under contract. Could get messy. Ellis closed his notebook. You know what hurts? Worrying about paperwork more than problems. Patel sighed. We're debating protecting it, not if it worked. Ellis leaned back. I didn't ask to be flown here. Didn't beg for a hero's send-off. I came because a ship asked for help. If suits don't like it, hats, not my problem. Darby smiled. Sir, I told you not to call me that. Patel said, if we file full reports, you won't be invited back. They'll rewrite rules to keep outsiders out. Ellis nodded. Maybe that's the lesson. He stood, weary. I've fixed ships longer than some of you have lived. Crawled through fires, chewed carbon, fixed lines in storms. Never needed permission. No one spoke. Brandon entered. They want me on a secure line in 10. They're spinning this as a system glitch, downplaying it. Ellis raised an eyebrow. Of course. They're asking how an uncredentialed civilian accessed propulsion. Ellis smiled tiredly. Tell them I brought donuts. She almost smiled. He stepped closer. Want truth in the report? Say the ship was down. Say every expert failed. Say an old man walked on, listened, fixed hurt hats what happened. Don't lie. Let them choke on it. Brandon nodded. Transport's inbound. You'll be off within the hour. Ellis glanced back at the engine room. The hum steady now. The ship breathing. She's strong again. That's all I care about. Halfway to the landing pad, Petty Officer Morris stopped him. Mr. Ellis, wait. Holding a worn notebook. You left this. Raymond took it, glanced, tucked it under his arm. Appreciate it. Morris asked, how'd you know not just the capacitor, but the system's response? None of that's in training. Ellis looked him in the eye. You can't program instinct. Morris frowned. You've learned how systems should work, that's good. But you must learn what they do when they don't. Machines don't always follow instructions. Sometimes they hide what's broken. Learn their habits, not just blueprints. Morris listened like hearing a secret. Think I could learn that? Ellis smiled. You just did. You watch me listen, not guess. Next time, get quiet. Let the machine tell you what's wrong. Morris nodded. Ellis clapped him on the shoulder. Keep asking hard questions even when you think you shouldn't. At the transport door, Brandon approached, less rigid. I've been thinking about what you said. Which part? About listening. I forgot how. Ellis nodded. Easy to forget when numbers say ships, fine but ships lie. She looked out. What happens when people like you stop showing up? Raymond thought. Someone has to remember. Maybe not tomorrow. Maybe not next month. But eventually, someone finds your notebook, or asks the right question, or messes up enough to go back to the beginning. He pulled out the old wrench, handed it silently. Brandon hesitated. I can't take that. For the next sailor who's too young to be right and too old to stop learning. Keep it safe. Don't forget where it came from. She held it like a sacred relic. The chopper lifted. Ellis didn't look down. The ship was fixed. The story might get buried or whispered, but the halcyon would go on. And Ellis? He wasn't just fixing engines. He was leaving behind a map written in mistakes, quiet decisions, and the habit of listening when no one else does. If this story moved you, share it. Tell someone who's forgotten the value of experience. And if you ever feel your time's past, remember a next generation might still be waiting for your voice.